Now, there's one thing I know about Senator Dianne Feinstein. She loves the NSA. She believes that it's very important that they spy in on average Americans. When we found out through Edward Snowden's revelations that they had actually been spying in on 300 million Americans and finding the metadata for our phone calls, finding out who we called, when we called them, etc. And by the way, rummaging through our emails and our online searches, etc. There was one person who was absolutely sure the NSA spying and government spying overall was the right thing to do. That was Dianne Feinstein. Get a load of this montage that Jared Jackson, our producer, put together of what Dianne Feinstein said back then.
I can tell you this, these programs are within the law. I think terror is up worldwide. The only thing taken, as has been correctly expressed, is not content of a conversation, but the information that is generally on your telephone bill. There are new bombs. I flew over the World Trade Center going to Senator Lautenberg's funeral, and in the distance was the Statue of Liberty. And I thought of those bodies jumping out of that building, hitting the canopy. Very big bombs is keeping America safe. Human intelligence isn't going to do it. Trucks being reinforced for those bombs. It is true that this is a wide collection of phone records, as Mike said, no name, no content. There are bombs that go through magnetometers. I think this is very hard. There is no more direct or honest person than Jim Clapper, and I think both Mike and I know that. The bomb maker is still alive. You can misunderstand the question. This is one of the dilemmas of talking about it, and there is huge malevolence out there.
So back then when they're spying in on us, huge malevolence, very, very big bombs, okay? Be scared and make sure that you let the intelligence agencies of the United States spy in on you. And by the way, the people who revealed this, like Edward Snowden, might be criminals. I mean, they have revealed some important things, and anyone who crosses the intelligence agencies could be a criminal. So here's what's interesting. Turns out that when the Senate was doing an investigation of the CIA, a different part of our intelligence community, and they were investigating their waterboarding and their torture program, the CIA was spying in on the Senate. And when they did that, and it was revealed, then the CIA leaked some information suggesting that perhaps the Senate aides had been illegally getting information from the CIA, like they were Edward Snowden. All of a sudden, shoe meet other foot. And Dianne Feinstein says, what? Are you telling me that, like, because we were doing an investigation of you, that you would call us criminals? And you were spying in on us? In fact, she did what other senators today called a heroic 40-minute speech, now railing against the intelligence community. Watch.
The CIA did not ask the committee or its staff if the committee had access to the internal review or how we obtained it. Instead, the CIA just went and searched the committee's computers. The CIA has still not asked the committee any questions about how the committee acquired the Panetta Review. In place of asking any questions, the CIA's unauthorized search of the committee computers was followed by an allegation, which we now have seen repeated anonymously in the press, that the committee staff had somehow obtained the document through unauthorized or criminal means, perhaps to include hacking into the CIA's computer network. As I have described, this is not true.
How dare you? We told you to spy on other people, not us. And then to accuse us of possible criminal activity, that's what we're supposed to reserve for regular citizens. More outrage from Dianne Feinstein when the tables have been turned.
Based on what Director Brennan has informed us, I have grave concerns that the CIA's search may well have violated the separation of powers principles embodied in the United States Constitution, including the Speech and Debate Clause. It may have undermined the constitutional framework essential to effective congressional oversight of intelligence activities or any other government function.
All of a sudden, it turns out that intelligence agencies might be violating the Constitution. Now, you remember earlier Dianne Feinstein was saying there's very big bombs out there. I mean, they had to violate your rights and the Constitution because of the malevolence out there. Now, when it's their rights being violated, their privacy being violated, I picked up the Constitution. It turns out what they're doing is outrageous. Is that right? In another part of the speech, she talked about the Fourth Amendment. She's like, do you know they might be violating the Fourth Amendment? Yes, Senator Feinstein, we knew that. All right, one more.
Our staff involved in this matter have the appropriate clearances, handled this sensitive material according to established procedures and practice to protect classified information, and were provided access to the Panetta review by the CIA itself. As a result, there is no legitimate reason to allege to the Justice Department that Senate staff may have committed a crime. I view the Acting Consul General's referral as a potential effort to intimidate this staff, and I am not taking it lightly.
Oh, so you're saying that when they're investigated, they try to intimidate the people that are investigating them. Wow. I wish I'd have gotten that memo earlier. Kind of like exactly what you did to Edward Snowden, Glenn Greenwald, Julian Assange, Chelsea Manning. God, it's okay when you run roughshod over regular Americans, but if you touch the powerful, that is an issue of the separation of powers. How dare you? Now, of course, John Brennan, the CIA director, is like, what, us? What do you mean? He says, as far as the allegation of CIA hacking into Senate computers, nothing could be further from the truth. Kind of like what the NSA said about spying on Americans. That so honest clapper that Feinstein talked about earlier, the one who said it was the, least untruthful thing I could say, right? Gee, I wonder if Brennan will say that later about the spying they did on the Senate. And when asked further about it, he said, no, quote, that's just beyond the scope of reason. That the CIA would do spying, beyond the scope of reason. And against their political enemies, no, egads, gadzooks, never. Okay, now, how do the rest of the senators feel? Well, now, all of a sudden, they're outraged. Pat Leahy, a senator from Vermont, says CIA's actions might be, quote, criminal conduct, okay? Again, when intelligence officials do it to regular Americans, not so criminal. When they do it to powerful senators, very criminal, right? And it's now all of a sudden bipartisan. John Cornyn, very conservative Republican from Texas. I'm obviously very concerned and interested in following up. Where was all your concern when the NSA was spying in during the Bush years, during the Obama years? That was all fine, right? And Majority Leader Harry Reid finally ends by saying her statement today, referring to Feinstein, was one of the most important principles that we must maintain. And that is the separation of powers. And that right there sums it up in a nutshell. It's one thing when you do it to the powerless, but when you get into our power, then we've got an issue. So all of a sudden, it turns out the Senate is very concerned about the intelligence officials spying in on Americans when those Americans happen to be them.